Good morning, boys and girls. Hi, hope you're doing well. Happy Friday, Junior, also known as Thursday. I miss you so much, and I wish I was in class with you right now. You have no idea. But since we're not in class, let's work together today, okay? So, this unit 3, week 1, we have 8 words. We have unique, disbelief, dismay, fabulous, features, offered, splendid, and watchful. We did our definitions on Monday, so let's go over them a little bit. So, disbelief is when you lack belief about something. Dismay is to feel shock and surprise. Fabulous is when something is amazing, and also another word for it in Spanish is fabuloso. Features are things that are noticeable about something. So features, when something has a feature about it, like a bird and its beak, that it's very sharp, that is a feature about an animal. Offered, when you offer something, you are presented with something that you can accept or turn down. Splendid is very beautiful or magnificent. Unique is one of a kind. So when something's unique, you can't find it anywhere else. We're all very unique. We can't find ourselves anywhere else. And our last one, watchful, is to watch very carefully. We've heard this word before. When you're watchful, you're looking at different things. You're paying attention to what you're looking at, okay? So this week we will be studying folk tales. We'll be reading different folk tales, just like today we'll be reading a different folk tale. So on your small book, you should have on page 190, a folk tale is a short story passed down from parents to children in a culture, okay? Usually has a message or teaches a lesson. Now, I know another word for teaching a lesson in a story or a message. And if you guess theme, you're right. So, remember, a theme, we pay attention to the character. We see what they learn, how they grow, how they change. So keep that in mind throughout the story while we read, okay? Now, we have author's purpose. During folk tales, usually an author's purpose is to entertain. Okay, so good readers can determine an author's purpose for writing. The author's purpose is why they have chosen to write the text. So when we entertain, we are entertaining someone, we're trying to capture their attention, okay? Throughout the next few stories, you're going to predict as well. Good readers make predictions about what will happen next in a story. A strong prediction is based on evidence in the text. So when we're able to make predictions, it kind of follows a pattern as well. You'll see in some of these stories that we're following a pattern and we're going to be able to predict what is going to happen next, okay? Fantasy and reality. Good readers are able to determine which elements of a text are fantasy and which are reality. Fantasy cannot happen in real life. So you'll see in some of these stories, animals are talking. I don't know about you, but I haven't met any animal that's talked to me. I wish my dogs could talk to me, but they don't. So fantasy, that includes that as well. Animals talking, having different powers that they don't have in real life. Fantasy cannot happen in real life. All right? Visualize. So when you visualize, you make a picture in your head, you make a movie in your head. Okay, so good readers visualize the story as they read by using descriptive words from the text to create a mental picture. So when we visualize, we're painting a picture in our head. And you'll actually be doing a little fun activity on Friday on visualizing, okay? So you should have for today's assignment Inchworm's Tale. Okay, it's 2 pages. So first we're going to go page by page. What do we always do? We read the questions before we read the passage, okay? So what we're going to do, we're going to do a little different. We don't have any questions for page 182 and 183, so we don't have any questions to read for these pages. We're going to read the questions page by page and answer while we read, okay? So let's get to it. I have it on my iPad, the story, and let's audio read. So Inchworm's Tale is a folk tale. So there will be a message at the end of this story, and it's a story that's been passed down from generation to generation.
Long ago, Anand and his sister Anika went swimming. They swam all afternoon and became very tired. They were exhausted and climbed onto a large flat rock to rest. Soon they fell asleep. A strange and mysterious thing happened as they slept. The rock beneath them grew and expanded until it reached the clouds. Anand awoke and looked around. "Sister, wake up," he cried in disbelief. "Am I dreaming, or are we among the clouds?" Anika rubbed her eyes. "You're not dreaming, brother. This rock has grown while we slept." The children looked around and saw fabulous blue sky and wonderful white clouds. The children were so high, Anika felt dizzy. Anand searched for a way to climb down, but he could not find a path. Anand and Anika started to cry. They felt fear and dismay.
So one thing that I see while I'm reading, I see an element of folktale. Do you think a rock can grow? No, rocks cannot just magically grow after you're sleeping and you see a rock grow, I don't know how many feet. That is an element that we know that cannot happen in real life. So that's one thing that tells us that this is a folktale. Also, in the sentence, "Sister, wake up," he cried in disbelief. Disbelief, maybe a synonym that we could put on that is in shock. Imagine if you fell asleep on top of a rock and it grew. You'd be in shock too, right? So let's turn our page. Remember, we're in our small book. So let's turn our page to 184 and 185. So we have questions for page 185. So let's look at them. It says, look for the animal's special features. Remember how I mentioned features as one of our vocabulary words. In the picture or text, why are the animals unique or special? Number 2, Tutok the inchworm says she can help. Why does she have a tiny voice? So those are 2 questions for page 185. Now, I know we do this sometimes as well. We observe our pages and our illustrations. So I want you to look. I want you to look at all those different animals on page 185. What do you see? So be watchful of that. So we're going to read page 184 and 185.
Below, the villagers became worried. Where were the children? They searched the forests, meadows, river, and lakes. Then Isha, the village chief, looked around and noticed Hawk sitting on a tree branch. "Hawk, will you help us find Anand and Anika?" he asked. "You have sharp, watchful eyes and strong wings. They are your best features. Please use them to help us find the children."
So we hear about the hawk. What special features does he have? They say you have watchful eyes and strong wings. So we just heard about the hawk. The hawk is in the picture on page 184. So we hear about his features. Let's continue on.
Hawk agreed to help and flew up into the sky. He tilted his head and squinted his eyes at the bright sunlight. When he was near the clouds, he spied the children on the rock. "Don't be afraid," said Hawk. "We will rescue you." Hawk was unable to carry the children down the rock, so he gathered lots of food for them to eat. Then he brought large leaves to keep them warm. Hawk wanted to make sure they were safe and unharmed.
All right. So he wanted to make sure that they were safe and unharmed. So I see that I skipped a page. I only had 1 page out. I'm so sorry. So let's look at page 184 questions. Hawk's special features help him find the children. What are they? So I just explained that his special features are watchful eyes and strong wings. And it helps him find the children, right? Because he's able to see where they are. How does Hawk use his special features to help the children? So he says, we will rescue you, but he was unable to carry them down. So he gathered lots of food for them to eat. Without his special features, he wouldn't have been able to eat. All right? So let's move along to 185. Sorry, boys and girls, I put the paper behind and I forgot about it. All right, page 185. Let's look at the animal's special features. And we're going to find out how the inchworm is able to help. She says that she could help them. Let's see if she actually can.
Hawk flew down to the village and spoke to Isha. Isha called all the animals together and told them they needed help to get the children down. He asked each animal to use its most special feature to climb the tall rock. Several tried and failed. Mouse's teeth were strong and unique, but they couldn't help her climb up the rock.
So we hear that Mouse has very strong teeth and unique. So those are special features. But the mouse can't help them climb down the rock. Let's see what happens next.
Bear's huge claws were good for climbing up trees. However, they could not help him scale rocks.
So we hear about Bear and his huge claws. He could climb up trees, but not rocks because they're different textures. Let's see what else there is.
Mountain Lion's claws were sharp and powerful, but the rock was too slippery and he slid back down.
So the mountain lion has claws as well that are sharp and powerful, but the rock was too slippery that he kept sliding. So his features are his claws as well.
Finally, a tiny voice filled with enthusiasm spoke up and offered to help. May I try, please? It's me, Tutok, the inchworm.
So, why do you think that Tutok has a tiny voice? Now, let's observe our page. We have a big bear, we have a mouse, we have a mountain lion, we have a hawk, and we have a worm. Now, which is the smallest animal? The inchworm. So that's why they're saying the tiny little voice of the inchworm. Okay? So we answered our 2 questions on page 185. And we answered our 2 questions on page 184. We'll actually go back to 183 since I forgot to mention that one. And we'll answer them together at the end. Okay, boys and girls? All right, let's go to page 186 and continue on.
Inchworm showed them all how...
Wait a second. We always read our questions before we read the passage. So for page 186, we have, how do Hawk and Inchworm work as a team to help the children? So let's see how they work together to help the children get off that climbing rock.
skillful she was at climbing. Hawk volunteered to carry Inchworm to the top of the rock. Then she could lead Anand and Anika down the giant mountain. Isha agreed to the plan. So Hawk carefully picked up Inchworm in his beak. Together they flew to the top of the rock where the children were waiting. Along the way, Inchworm planned for the trip down.
All right, so how do they work together? So let me ask you one thing first. We're talking about folk tales. They're fake. They can't happen. Do you think a hawk would carry a little worm? Oh, let me just help you and carry you up to the rock. No, that won't happen in real life. Most likely the hawk will eat the worm, right? So how do they work together? The inchworm shows how skillful they are, how skillful it is to climb up the rock. So we know that's its special feature, is climbing. And then we have the hawk that helps the inchworm get all the way to the top by flying up there. Okay, so they work together by the hawk carrying the inchworm all the way up to get the children. So let's see what happens on page 187. Let's look at our questions. Both glorious and splendid are used to describe the day, so they must be synonyms or have similar meanings. Why is this day splendid? And number 2, problem and solution. Problem and solution is another skill that we'll be learning throughout this week. We will be recognizing what is the problem in a story. What is going wrong? Our solution is how we're able to fix it. Okay, so what is the problem at the beginning of the story? It is that they couldn't get down the mountain. Okay, who helps them get down? How do they solve this problem? Okay, so let's see.
It took almost a week for the three to climb down to the village. Inch by inch, Inchworm led the children carefully down the rocky slope. Every day, Hawk brought food to the children. Every day, he reappeared in the village with news for the villagers. Finally, Inchworm, Anand, and Anika reached the bottom of the rock. Everyone cheered and called Inchworm a hero. It was a glorious, splendid day.
So we see for number 1 on page 187 that glorious and splendid must be synonyms because they have similar meanings. Why is this day splendid? Well, we read, everyone cheered and called Inchworm a hero. It was a glorious, splendid day. They finally, Inchworm and the children finally reached to the bottom. So that's why it was a splendid, glorious day. As we've heard, splendid means amazing. Okay, so it was a splendid, glorious day because they finally got down to the mountain, down the mountain. Yay!
From this day on, said Isha, I rename the big rock Tutok on Ula after the brave Inchworm.
All right, so our last question. The problem at the beginning of the story was that children could not get down the mountain. Who helps them get down? So who's our tiny little friend that helps them get down little by little, inch by inch? It's our inchworm friend, okay, to talk. So now that we finished the story, our theme, our message, what do the characters learn? We have our characters that are the animals, especially Inchworm, and the children are our characters as well. What do they learn? They learn to work together. They were able to work together to finally solve their problem. So let's go back to 183. Sorry about that. So we have, at the beginning of the story, Anand and his sister are tired. Why? What is the strange and mysterious thing that happens to the rock the children fall asleep on? So we had read that they were tired. They swam all afternoon and became very tired. I don't know about you, but when I go in the pool or I'm out in the sun, I get very tired at night as well. So they were exhausted, and that's why they climbed onto the mountain to sleep, or the rock to sleep. So after swimming all afternoon, they became very tired. So that's why they were tired. For number 2, what is the strange and mysterious thing that happens to the rock the children fall asleep on? As I previously had told you in the beginning of the video, what makes this a folk tale, one of the elements that makes it a folk tale, is the fact that the rock grew magically overnight. It just grew, or maybe throughout the day. So what is the mysterious thing that happens? That mysterious makes us wonder, strange. It's weird. We're trying to figure out what happened. It is that the rock grew. So this is Inchworm's Tale. I hope you enjoyed it. And next week we'll be reading together another folk tale. So I hope you have a great day, and I love you all very much. Miss you.